What is a weed? Ralph Waldo Emerson says, a weed is a plant whose virtues have not been discovered. I'm Jeff McManus, and I work with plants every day, and I lead teams who work with plants. And today I want to share with you our story. In the plants, on ground level, in the weeds, every day. What can plants teach us about leadership and teamwork that can take a last place campus team to the first in a national ranked in beautification? Today I want to share the story of us at the University of Mississippi as we changed our staff's mindset from weeders into leaders. We have a beautiful 1,000-acre campus there. And the first week I was there, I was awed by the plants and the things that were there. But it needed a little love. It needed a little care. And I began to walk and spend time with my boss, who I called the master gardener of people. He had the touch of people, of empowering. And he taught me, some things I want to share with you, but I want to share with you the grow principles that we learned. Our greatness, our resiliency, our opportunity, and our wisdom that we learn from plants. When you walk into the grove, into the campus, it's a beautiful 10-acre park in the center of a congested campus. And one of the first things that I noticed were the beautiful, majestic trees. Anybody here been to Ole Miss before? All right, a few of you. Great. Well, you're all invited. When you walk on the campus and you just stop, this is one of those moments with Frederick Law Olmsted and his family designed for meditation, to reflect and to know what is going on in the garden. So we looked here, and one of the things that I observed was that all the trees were reaching to the heavens. They're growing to their full potential. They're going out. Their root systems are going strong. There were no barriers in their way. There was nothing impeding them, and they were strong. As I was walking that first week with the master gardener of people, Dr. Robert Kayat, he did something very strange that very first walk on campus. He bent over, and does anybody know what he did while we were walking campus? He picked up some trash. Now, this was the guy who was over the entire campus, the chancellor. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So you know what I did, right? I started picking up trash. And what it showed me and our team is that we lead by example. We set the culture. Just like in the Grove, this great environment, this culture, the environment with trees to raise in, the leader sets the tone of the culture, of the environment in which the staff grows. Jeff, don't ever forget to always lead by example. One day, he was pulling up some weeds in the garden, and I said, Dr. Kayat, what are you doing? He goes, I'm weeding by example. Well, as time moved on, he would tell me, he goes, Jeff, you're not just pulling weeds and cutting grass here at this campus. He goes, you're helping attract students who go on and become doctors who go on and create cures. You're helping our football coach win national championships. You're helping our deans recruit top students who may go on and write great novels like John Gresham. And we started telling that story to our staff, and we said, being like the oak tree, to reach for that greatness. Did you know that 62% of prospective college students will make a decision in the first few minutes of a college visit if they're going to that college based on the appearance? Oh, the academics don't like that, but it's true. We're emotional people. We feel connected. Well, the first football season came along, And our fans and our alumni, we love to be in the Grove, and we tailgate and we have great memories. And there's a lot of great times in the Grove. Whether we win or lose, we have great memories in the Grove. But when it's all over, there comes a time that they leave us a little something in the Grove, a little happy. All the garbage. And this was almost like it felt like it was being thrown on us because as much personal pride as we were taking. And our staff just kind of went out and moseyed through and we were like, oh, poor, pitiful us. But we took a lesson from the oak trees in the Grove. Their roots reach out beyond their drip lines. And they actually interact and they hold each other together and they're structured together. And they support one another. So we brought our team in together and we said, how can we change this? How can we make this a win and make this better for us? With our network, with our small network of people. And one person raised their hand, they go, I know, we can close the Grove on game day. And everybody laughed because we're not going to close the Grove on game day. And so we looked at other options. What about if we contracted it out? We said, okay. So we put it out for bid like any good government agency does when they don't want to do something, right? The only problem is when I went to procurement to look at the bids, I was so excited. She looked at me. I looked at her. She goes, what? I went, what? Nobody bid on it. Nobody wants to pick up your trash, Jeff. So we went back to our network, our structure, and we said, what else can we do? And somebody came up with an idea. What if we ask a bigger network of people? What if we ask some nonprofit groups to come and join us? And people laughed and said, nobody's going to help us clean this up. And somebody said, well, what about some of these college students? And everybody laughed. College students aren't going to help us do this. But we tried it. And the next week we had a home game. We had 80 college students show up. And what took us normally 12 hours to clean the Grove took us about an hour. And we changed it, so we cleaned it at midnight, and this became a huge win for us. So much so that even the New York Times wrote about our trash cleanup in the Grove. And then as we looked, I don't know how many of you've ever had this happen to you, that little plant grow up in your driveway in the middle, that little just tough little guy, or maybe you're like, you hate to admit it like me, I've got a tree growing in my gutter right now. You know, it's opportunity. Did you know if an acorn on a tree falls on the ground, it has 1 in 10,000 chance of actually becoming a tree? 1 in 10,000. The campus was getting prettier. We were having more challenges. We needed to be more productive. It was taking us 10 days to mow the campus, which was way too long. And so we went back to our network where our roots were, and we asked our staff, what can we do? And people started coming up with great ideas. What if we could move some objects out of the lawn area so our lawnmowers didn't have to back up? And what if we didn't have to weed eat around the trash cans? And what if we made our bed lines on our turf sweep so our mowers never backed up? We said, that's a great idea. And I had one girl, Danae, who became really good at this. And she began to really empower it, and she took ownership of it, and she was creating this bed lines and things that our mowing dropped from 10 days to 5 days. And we said, Danae, you're doing pretty good at this. We'd like to make you a leader and step up and to do some other things. And Danae immediately dropped a barrier, a mental barrier, and said, I can't do that. She goes, I'm fine with doing these in the frontline things, but I can't lead other people. You know, the mental barriers are what keeps us from taking that next jump. And in our network, sometimes we have to let people borrow our confidence in them. When you put a tree, a beautiful, majestic tree, in a little bitty parking lot cutout, that tree never becomes a big tree because it has barriers. We had to find out how to get those mental barriers off Danae. And when we did, and she did, she became a great leader. So much so that a few years later, she led the entire department in our day-to-day operations. She took advantage. She was that 1 in 10,000. She was that acorn. But then she didn't stop there. She said, we need to keep developing our team. We need to have that passion. I don't know if you've ever worked with anybody like this, but we used to have people that go, wow, I've only got 30 more years and I can retire. And we needed people who were excited and wanted to come on board and loved what they did. And so she developed, and with the rest of us, a certification program at our school that our staff could be inspired and work through. She called it Landscape University. And she took that and ran with that opportunity. And then as time progressed, we took our fourth, and really, this is where it all started. Now, it started in the most awkward way. Wisdom. Solomon says, he who walks with the wise is wise. Think about, who do you want your children to hang out, your grandchildren to hang out with? Do you want them to hang out with the bad kids or the good kids? What about our staff? Who are they hanging around with? When they get in their car, in their truck, who are they listening to? Who's talking to them in their mind? And what we discovered, it came in a way of drama, that we were having a little bit of drama and then a whole lot of drama. I call these guys the draminators. And we said, we got to do something. And so we started walking our people in wisdom. And it was crazy. We bought books for our staff to read. And we had small little breakout book clubs. Because what we wanted to do is to change the thinking. We wanted to get their minds, but mostly we wanted to get their heart. We wanted to get their experiences. And what happened was, as they began to talk about the books, and we would watch TEDx talks on videos, they would talk about the TEDx talk, it lifted them. They began to walk with the wise. And those that didn't, they left on their own. It was a win-win for us all. But there was a plant in the grove, in that beautiful grove, and we used to think it was a weed. And for years we tried to eradicate it. It was called the plantain plant. It's an herb. It's not like the one you get in the store. It's just a small little herb. And we thought that was a weed. But then we realized when we got rid of it, we didn't have much growing in the grove in the summertime. We needed something for erosion control, nice green area, but also it was good for ant bites and bee stings, and it was actually edible. What we thought was bad ended up being really good. The same with some of our employees. Some of the employees that I thought were some of our most challenging employees, when we started walking in wisdom, we carried them to other college campuses. We brought in speakers from our own campus, deans, presidents, chancellors, head football coaches, and talked to them. We had them walking with the wise so their understanding became greater. Now let me ask you this. In your life, are you putting barriers in your own greatness? Are you mentally stopping yourself from doing the thing that you could do right now, just as simple as a tree, and grow to that greatness? It takes that resiliency of a network of people, those around you who love you and care for you, and always seeking out that opportunity. I call it bloom where you're planted. No matter where you are, just bloom. And get there with walking with the wise. Thank you.